it was supposed to be. You never told me a lie. You never told me the truth. You never told me what you needed from me.
Off of my faces, take the mask off yours as well. Let me see you in the darkness, like you've seen me walk through hell. Let the dim light keep on shining when the darkness overflows. And before dawn, when it's darkest, we'll find where this river goes.
Would be my blood and scars. Well, I paid with my heart, and I paid with my life. I paid with everything I ever had. I paid and paid and paid and paid and paid. I paid and paid and paid and paid and paid. I paid and paid and paid and paid and paid. I paid. Take the mask off of my faces, take the mask off yours as well. Let me see you in the darkness, like you've seen me walk through hell. Let the dim light keep on shining when the darkness overflows. And before dawn, when it's darkest, we'll find where this river goes. Allowed my dreams to die. Fate isn't cruel, fate isn't kind. Fate merely is, it merely is. Fate isn't cruel, fate isn't kind. Fate merely is, it merely is. Take the mask off. my faces, take the masks off yours as well. Let me see you in the darkness, like you've seen me walk through hell. Let the dim light keep on shining when the darkness overflows. And before dawn, when it's darkest, we'll find where this river goes. Take the masks off of my faces, take the masks off yours as well. Let me see you in the darkness, like you've seen me walk through hell. Let the dim light keep on shining when the darkness overflows. And before dawn, when it's darkest, we'll find where this river goes.
Hello and welcome everybody to Who Am I? And today we have Uncle Hauk, and you just heard his song Mask. So, Uncle Hauk, welcome, singer and songwriter, and really looking forward to this video. So, can you start by telling us how you got into music?
Yeah, so I was in fourth grade. I was watching MTV. Guns N' Roses came on doing the song "Live and Let Die," and I stood up and said, "That's what I want to do with my life." And my parents kind of shook their head in disbelief, and oh, he'll grow out of it. And 35 years later, I'm still,
Right?
still doing it, still pursuing it. Music,
Awesome.
it's life. It's what I love. It's what I do. It's who I am.
Right. Yeah, Guns N' Roses, that was one of my favorite bands too. I remember going and seeing him at concert. I guess that's giving my age away a little bit, but one of my favorite bands. And hey, I don't blame you. I mean, they were an awesome band. So that's really good. So your song Mass, that's a very intriguing song. What was the inspiration for that song?
So as a heathen and heathen musician, also just as a regular old heathen, one of the biggest concepts in faith is weird, WYRD, weird, and
Mhm.
fate, and the idea that fate it's immutable. It happens. It's that brick wall that you cannot run through. Not even the gods can change fate. We read the Voluspa, and it's the story of Odin grieving his dead son, Balder, and trying to change fate. For me, the past few years have been pretty rough. My fiance died a couple years ago, and this is one of those songs that's like, fate isn't cruel, fate isn't kind, it just is. And Odin can't change his fate, I can't change my fate, much as we might try. Sometimes it just doesn't end well.
Mhm. Yeah, I read cards, and that's one of the major arcana. I call
Hmm.
those the cards of fate because those are those challenges that come before us that make or break us because um that is the journey that we walk upon. So and we do, I mean, with mask, we have that outside, but there's also that immutable truth, like you said. So yeah,
Hmm.
I understand that. And very deep. Thank you for sharing that. It's a wonderful,
Sure.
wonderful story.
So
So,
one of the many names for Odin is Grim, which means the masked one. So
right.
in many ways, I feel the song's a conversation with him. Take the masks off of your face, take the ones off of mine. Let's just put the cards down and see what's real.
Hmm. Yeah, in our world nowadays, it seems like there's so many masks that we have to wear, you
Hmm.
know, and you can get caught up in things. And if we don't have that strong root, right? If our roots aren't as strong as the tree, then or I consider it to the oak tree. You know, if your roots aren't as strong as the mighty oak, then you are not going to be able to weather those storms and facing those challenges. You know, that is like, you know, like I said before, it makes or breaks us, and it does determine which way we're going to go, right? And that is very true, especially, you know, when you have to do so many different things in your life. So, what is the best thing to you about being a pagan musician?
You know, there's a certain freedom in being able to create without expectation. And I've worked on music for film. I've pitched songs for country artists. I've written a variety of music. You know, there's a you know, the music industry is an industry first and foremost. You
Hmm.
know, there's definitely that side of the business that is like, no,
Right,
you got to make the money.
right, right. Hmm.
But when you start writing music for on a spiritual level, you can really just cast aside any restraint and focus on the message, focus on the meaning, and see where it takes you.
Hmm. Yeah, I think what I see and when I watch pagan musicians is that they're able to express themselves freely and you know, use like your song for example without that mask,
Hmm.
without that outside to, you're around your kind, so to speak, so you're able to just be, you know. I get that. So what
Hmm.
is the most challenging thing about being a pagan musician?
Well, you know, like I said, it in many ways it's an industry, and music is, and they're, you know, with when you once you put a label on anything, you start limiting your reach. And you know, the pagan community is you know, a great community. I know so many people all over the country,
Mhm.
but it's also a very small community.
Right.
So there's that fine line between, you know, I write pagan music and I write music in general. And every album has what I feel are more accessible mainstream songs. Although I might use that term mainstream a little loosely. I
Mhm.
definitely don't write
Yeah.
write radio fodder or pop music.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, and you know, it's tough to get the message out. It's tough to get the music out there. We are, you know, it's not like we have a pagan CNN that people can just log into every day and like, oh hey, new pagan music, cool. Hey, there's pagan news. Hey, there's, you know, we're all off in our little. We have our kindreds, we have our covens, we have our local
Mhm.
communities,
Mhm.
and this is good. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to have a, you know, a pagan pope. I don't want us to have, you know, that kind of national structure. I think our local communities do it best.
Mhm.
But at the same point, getting the word out there, spreading the message, even just among our communities, it's tough. You know, you've got the Facebook ads, but then, you know, you start paying Mark Zuckerberg to, like, you know, you put a post up, he's like, do you want people to see this? You got to
Right.
pay.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, and that's one thing that is the truth when you say industry. That
mhm,
is the big thing. It is an industry. And in that industry, it costs money and, you know, to produce.
mhm,
And not just you, but for other things that you're doing. You know, that's your time as well. And
mhm,
then if you have other obligations, you know, all of this stuff matters. So
mhm,
yeah, that's the biggest one. And I mean, there is Fringe TV and there is the Cauldron Radio out there that does play the music, but you know, it's not just everywhere all the time. So I understand. So
right.
you saw me get that, you heard me get that little dig in, right?
I do. Yeah.
But
For me, like I'm in some ways I'm lucky. I've
mhm,
working because I work in music. I've built
right.
my own recording studio. I've produced films. I've worked on a lot of different aspects of the industry. Actually, I teach music at a local college right now. Um, I have the gear, so I can keep my cost of recording fairly minimal.
Mhm,
I do hire a fair amount of session players. Like I've got a really great drummer. Like I I play guitar. I don't do drums, so I hire him. So but my costs
mhm,
they're still significant,
right.
But I can mix everything. I can master everything, and I know I've made this offer on the different pagan music groups. I'm happy to help anybody out there with mixing or mastering.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
if they can pay me, great. If they can't, I'm just happy to help.
Right.
You pay it forward. So like so far I've only had like one person take me up on that, but you keep saying, "Hey, I'm happy to help." That's what
Yeah.
we do. We help each other.
Right. Well, that's very generous of you. It's very generous of you. And yeah, I'm that way too. I pay it forward too because
Mhm.
we all start at the beginning.
Yep.
And sometimes we may be more blessed and have more options available to us than other people do. So I understand. I understand. That's very, very good of you. I like that. I appreciate that. So how can the IPMA help you enhance your musical reality?
I'm tempted to make a joke about mushrooms, but no. You know, spread the word. Just
Hmm.
what we don't have really in the pagan community is pagan publicity.
Right.
We don't have a way of getting the word out to like I know we have a couple different pagan magazines, and there's like all the different groups have their monthly newsletters, but a way of getting the word out to everyone. Hey, new pagan musician has a new album. Here's the link. Check it out. You know,
Right.
it may be the thing you like. It may not be.
Hmm.
It's kind of a running joke in heathen circles. There's always the new kid who's 20 years old and discovered heathenry through Swedish death metal. And it's like, oh yeah, Viking death metal. It's the greatest and best thing ever, and it's true heathen music. And I listen to bands like Amon and Marth, and they're great. They got some great riffs, some great guitar solos, but so many times these bands, the lyrics are basically Odin. He has a spear and he rides a horse, and the horse has 8 legs. Odin. And Thor, he has a hammer, and it's a big hammer. And I'm like, okay, cool. But there is so much more. There are so many layers. I did an EP a few years back about the goddess Frigga, and I
Hmm.
really kind of get into her stories and who she is, and you know, not just Frigga. She knits, you know, like
Right.
that's there's so many layers to it. Same with all the other traditions. Um, I've done a little bit of study into the Welsh gods, and you know, growing up, I read tons of books on the Greek gods. I've tried to learn about Irish gods, and I get a headache about a halfway through the first chapter. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to come back to this in a little while. Um,
Some of the
but there's some,
names, right?
oh yeah, but there are layers and depths and
Layers.
understanding. I mean, as a polytheistic faith, we have so many different gods, so many different stories, so many different ways to explore and understand and make those connections that I don't think we should limit ourselves. Uh,
I agree with that. There's so many I'm of a Celtic
mhm.
path, so European Celt, and there's so many different layers and there's so many different understandings, and just the Celtic, that is a huge area to cover. when you talk about gods and goddesses and different myths, that is, it's an abyss.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of stories in there that really, it really gets me when people, they want to rush past it, not worry about the myths, just go past and do all the
Hmm.
pretty Hollywood stuff, right? The aesthetic, the outward appearance. But when you get into those myths, that is where you start really growing. When
Yeah.
you understand, everybody is familiar with the path of Inanna, for example, when she goes into the underworld, but not many people really know the story of Rhiannon and
Yeah.
why she rides that white horse. Not many people really know a lot of the story of Caradwin and the shape shifting that she underwent in her transformations
Yeah.
of that. And, not many people know. I mean, they barely know of the god Lu. They know, oh, he's the spear and the bright one, but they don't understand his true story of how he came about and the roots where he
Hmm.
came from and what that represented. So I understand you with that. I mean, there's so many layers into these myths, and to really walk the path, you have to really not just tip your toes into those myths, but just dive deep into them, and
Hmm.
and read them, and let them sit with you. So yeah,
Well,
it can be a headache. It really can be a headache. And you can
we,
take it. You're like, wait a minute, I'm lost. Wait a minute, I'm lost. I gotta back up. But
yeah. No, we often joke that also true is the religion with homework, but
yeah,
really any religion should be.
right.
Um, there's so many layers. I mean, my kindred has we joke about the 3 a.m. text conversations. One of us will get an idea and fire off a text, and we start responding because this is LA. No one sleeps.
Right, right.
um, but we wind up looking like that guy, like, and we draw this rope over here and connect this, and like, well, what if this means this, and
Mm-hmm.
and when you start getting so many layers and so many levels of understanding as a musician, I started asking myself, why would I limit myself to one style, to one genre?
Right.
There's so much variety. I mean, I've done tons of work with orchestras. I've
Mm-hmm.
written tons of classical music, and this most recent album, I would call it alternative country.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done metal, and I've done like doom, and I've done more electronic work. There's one of the things I love about the IPMA is there's such a variety.
Right.
Um, I try to buy as many albums as I can when I have the disposable income.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Hem Netcher was one of the bands that popped up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like Egyptian chant with beats and like some nice heavy stuff. I'm like, all right, this is different. I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
I am 100% here for it. Let me hear more. Or Norse Gale with the more tribal chanting, and you get more singer songwriters. You got S.J. Tucker out there doing her
Right.
thing. It's great.
Yes.
Diversity, variety, different levels of expression. Because you can write a happy folk song about Thor and thunder and lightning and blessing the crops and whatnot, and you can turn around and do a power ballad about Frigga mourning the death of her son,
Mm.
or you could do a song about Bloodwith and start asking, like, all right, she was created as a gift for somebody. Do you
Right.
think she likes that? Do you think she's okay with that? And then see how far you can go. There's no reason, like,
Right.
I've already started writing my next project, and it's gonna be heathen jazz,
Oh, very awesome.
which
Oh,
like I don't think that's been done before.
I haven't. I'm not aware of it. I'm not
Yeah,
aware of it.
or even
Um,
in pagan jazz, I don't think it's been done.
I don't,
You know, so hey, let's do it. You know,
sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
exactly. You know,
Um, So, in saying all that, do you have a message that you would like to share with others today?
Be excellent to each other.
I
Um,
love it.
yeah, like a message. I mean, like I could go off for the next 20 minutes, believe in yourself and follow your dreams and whatnot.
Mhm.
I mean, we live in my friend Rod, used before he passed away, he used to say that we live in saga times. And
Yeah.
it's true. We are
Mhm.
living in a incredible historical period. The
Yeah,
world
we are.
is changing like mad. So go out there and write, with your life, write your saga.
Mhm.
Make good choices, make bold choices. Sing the songs that you want to hear, sing the songs that need to be sung. Whether that's a protest song or a victory song or you know,
Mhm.
or a love song. We definitely don't have enough love in this world. You know.
Yeah, very true. We just had a full moon last night,
Mhm.
and of course, all full moons oppose the sun, and it was opposing not only the sun but Saturn, and then it was having a nice flow, a trine like a flow with Jupiter, and that's telling me that you can get what you want, you know, because Jupiter's in Taurus right now. That's the material thing, but you're going to have to work for it because Saturn, especially combined with that Taurus energy, that's about work, and the sun is, that's your actions. And but then there was a Pallas Athena was involved, and I believe was she squaring? She had a connection with the sun and Saturn, and she is Pallas Athena, of course, that's our warrior goddess, but she's a
Mhm.
strategist, but she is about war, and she's in Sagittarius, which the arrow is can be about war as well. But not only is the arrow about war, the arrow can be used to nourish your people. That's how they are, our ancestors would hunt, right? So that
Mhm.
arrow can either kill or it can feed your people. It's your tool. You use it to the highest, you know, use it to the highest potential that you can use it. Don't waste it upon, the petty things, more of the egotistical right now. Let's look forward as, where are we going? What are we wanting to do? Because that is the Pallas Athena. She's that strategist of not what is going to be today, but how about a year from now? How about 5 years from now? So, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Think about that, not to give up, and to, like you said, be excellent to each other. I love that. I love that. That will be my favorite. That will be my all-time favorite. Be excellent to each other. So, how can others find you and reach your music besides on here at the IPMA website?
The best place is hawk.bandcamp.com.
Mhm.
HAUK.bandcamp.com. That's got all my most current music. If you want to check out, I do have a website, hawkrules.com. HAUKRULES.com. So it's got bio and videos, and there's a YouTube channel, and sooner or later I put my stuff up on Spotify. I hate Spotify and streaming, but it's convenient. And there comes a point where I'm like, all right, I want to sell the music and make money, but I also want people to listen to it.
Mhm.
And some people, we live in tough times. Some people can't afford $10 for an album, so hey, I'll put it up on Spotify and they can listen to it. And every 10 years or so, I make enough for a cup of coffee, and I enjoy that cup of coffee, and it's great. But yeah,
Awesome.
and I'll like Tidal and Amazon, and the music's out there.
Mhm.
If you just look for Uncle Hauk, or go to my website and check out the links. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you so much. And I've really enjoyed this. I really would love to I guess we could have a conversation that probably could go on for a while. And
Probably.
it's been a pleasure,
Likewise.
Uncle Hawk, speaking with you. And thank you so much for doing this. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And we'll see you next time.